नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
So we had completed last time chapter 6 and done a review of it. Basically the first 6 chapters, about 1/3 of the Bhagavad Gita, is talking about Karam Yoga. So there are different kinds of Karam Yoga. There is serving the divine by your actions. There is Gyan Yoga for people who are interested in pursuing an intellectual course. And after that you come to the Hatha Yoga, which is the physical exercises and the physical working to connect with the divine. And basically that is all in the realm of connecting with the Paramatma realization. So Paramatma is the super soul within you, the super soul above all souls, and in each soul self entity it appears along with them. He is also at the center of every atom. So there is an impersonalistic realization, and then there is a personal realization in terms of the Paramatma. But Paramatma is again not the complete realization. So it is partial. Now, as Reiki channels particularly, you are immediately connected to the Paramatma level by the networking with the divine heart, to your heart, and to the heart of whatever you are connecting to when you are sending the healing. So you are placed in the Paramatma realization zone already, having bypassed Karma Yoga, having bypassed Gyan Yoga, having bypassed Ashtanga Yoga. So you are in the service mode with your actions in everyday life. With your actions, you are actually working to serve the divine. So now we have the 7th chapter, the 7th to 12th chapter is the next 1/3 of the Bhagavad Gita, and that is the knowledge of devotional service. So chapter 7 is labeled as knowledge of the absolute. So the most confidential knowledge is in the middle section of the Bhagavad Gita, 7 to 12, and in fact chapter 9 is the peak of where you will find the confidential knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. So we go to text 1 of chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. So Shri Bhagwan Vacha Maya Sakta Mana Partha Yogam Yunjan Mat Ashray Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyanasyasi Tat Shrinu. So the Supreme Lord said to Arjun, Mai Asakta Mana, with your mind attached to me. When he is saying me, who is me? Me is Krishna. Okay. Not to anything else. With your mind attached to me, Partha, son of Pritha, my dear cousin, Yogam Yunjan Mat Ashray Asanshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyanasyasi Tat Shrinu. So, practicing this connection with me in transcendental loving service to me, Mat Ashray, in consciousness of me, taking my shelter, Asanshayam, without doubt, Samagram, completely, complete surrender, complete taking shelter, Mam Yatha Gyanasyasi Tat Shrinu, by hearing from me then you can come to know. Jnanasyasi is to come to know. Now, Jnanasyasi means Jnan, which means acquired knowledge. Okay. So, by hearing carefully, in surrender, in self realization, connection with me, and practicing this as a matter of practice, as a matter of habit, as a matter of repetitive practice, not suddenly you may not come to it, but listen to me in consciousness of me, mat ashray, taking support from me. I am supporting you in this. Take shelter of me, surrender to me in consciousness of me, in Krishna consciousness, whichever way you want to look at it. And you can come to know me completely, in full. And you will be free from all kinds of doubts. So, the next shlok, text 2. Jnanam te aham vijnanam idam vakshayami aseshata yat jnatva na iha bhuya anyat jnatvyam avasisyate. Jnanam and vijnanam. Jnanam te aham sa vijnanam. I shall explain, vakshyami, what is jnana and what is vijnana. Now, jnana is acquired knowledge, which Krishna said, by hearing me, you will have acquired knowledge. Right? Now he's introduced the vijnana aspect. What is vijnanam? Is realized knowledge. It has different from jnana. Jnana is what you gather from your senses, what you experience, what you analyze, what you see in the world. And vijnana is what you directly perceive. It's direct perception of reality. It can mean science. Vijnana means the scientific methodology. It can also mean the most superior kind of knowledge. So the superior kind of knowledge in this context is self-realization or realization of the self or realization internally, which connects you to the transcendental truth. So that is the highest knowledge coming to you when you are connecting like this. So then Krishna says that I shall explain to you the Gyan as well as the Vigyan aspect. And knowing this, there is nothing further for you to know. Nothing further remains to be known. So when is it that nothing further is remaining to be known? Is when you have direct perception of truth or reality, when you directly perceive the knowledge, not by Gyan, but by Vigyan in this context. Okay. So direct perception, directly touching the truth is Vigyanam. Then in text 3, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahisreshu kaschat yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tatvata. Manushyanam sahisreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. Out of thousands, sahisreshu, hundreds and thousands. Kaschit yatati siddhaye. Only a few, one person, someone, kaschit, one person. Yatati siddhaye, endeavors for perfection, and yatatam api siddhanam, and those of those many who have achieved perfection, kaschit mam veti tatvata. Few, hardly anyone knows me in truth. So this is similar to what he is telling later on. He is also telling Arjun, particularly he has already mentioned to him, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So Bahunam janmanam ante, after many births, jnanvan mam prapadyate. The Jnanis, the intelligent, the ones who have the acquired knowledge, know me. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. And then of these, Sa Mahatmana Sudurlabha, out of these the Mahatma, the great soul aspect, which is the Vigyan, realization, Sa Mahatmana Sudurlabha, very difficult to find. So this is the same, Manusyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye, Yatatam Api Siddhanam Kaschit Mam Veti Tattvata. So, in fact, very few people know who I really am. And we have mentioned earlier, even the demigods do not know who he is. They are connecting to Lord Brahma and they are connecting mostly to Lord Vishnu, who they will have to approach Brahma in order to approach Vishnu. So knowledge of Krishna is very far from them. So we are very much more fortunate than the demigods because we are not bewildered by other aspects of higher existence in the material zone, which is a very superior kind of enjoyment life in the higher planets, but it is also keeping us away from Krishna. So therefore, birth at this time in this middle zone of Karam Bhumi, the earth planet, is considered to be very, very fortunate. And in fact, it is said that the demigods are praying that during Kali Yuga they should be born on the earth planet. They should reappear here after their karma is working out to enjoy the heavenly planets. They should come back here because here the knowledge is so easily available. Unfortunately, because it's easily available, it is easily misunderstood as well. So Krishna says the best way to get this knowledge is to hear from me. No middlemen, no motivated interpretations. You hear from me directly what I am saying and understand this by Vijnanam, and you will know everything about me, and beyond which there is nothing further to be known. Once you know me, there is nothing further because I am the source of everything that exists. So this is now coming to the level of bhakti. So all your previous yogas, Karam Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga, Hat Yoga, the whole lot is meant to culminate in the point of bhakti. So if you skip all the way up to the bhakti yoga, you are already there. You are not tangled in anything else. And because you have the empowerment of the heart-to-heart connection, you can actually heal the binding consequences of your karma, which is mukti. But mukti is not enough. We have stated many times. Mukti, anyone can, following these paths, can get there. But what you need to do is to engage in the direct service of Krishna. Then that is a very superior form of understanding, because engaging in Krishna's service is the highest service of all. Bhajate mam, Krishna says. One who serves me best in transcendental loving service is the best of all. So that is Bhakti Yoga. So chapters 7 through 12 is all about Bhakti Yoga, which is higher than the previous discussed activities. Text number 4. Bhumi apa anila vayu ham mana buddhi eva cha ahankara iti iyam me bhinna prakriti ashtadha. Bhumi apa anila vayu ham. The earth, the water, the fire, the air and ether. 5 elements, and mana, mind, buddhi, intelligence, eva, certainly, and ahankara, false ego, iti iyam me bhinna prakriti ashtadha. So what does that mean? That these are my separated material energies. These 8 are my separated material energies. We had stated last time that everything originates from Krishna, the good as well as the bad. So but they are Nothing to do with him because these are his separated energies. So Krishna is now explaining how that happens. That these are my separated energies. So one thing we need to understand, that once something separates from Krishna, it loses its essential value by getting covered up by the material value. So that is the beginning of the separation of these energies originating from Krishna, but he does not rest in them. Those energies are resting in him, arising from him, but they are separated from him. So as Atma, as individual soul beings, soul selves, we can never become one with the divine. So that impersonalist philosophy of merging with the divine and becoming one with them is false. It is the ahankar position, because by doing that, the impersonalists are seeking to become the divine or God himself by thinking that they become one part of him, so their consciousness is God consciousness and it is as big as God. But again, he will fall out from that. It is explained that just like a parrot goes into these green trees and he merges, you don't see the parrot, but then the parrot is separate from the tree. He will fall out or fly away or come away. So the same way, Krishna is saying, these earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego, these are all my separated energies, and they number 8. They are 8 in number. Okay. So this is important to consider this. Then text number 5. Apara iyam ita tu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutana mahabaho yaya idam dharyate jagat. Apara, separated, inferior energies of mind, iyamita. Besides these inferior energies, anyam, there is another, prakritim, energy, mind, natural energy, vidhi, just try to understand me, vidhi me param, superior, jiva bhutanam, the living entity is my superior energy. Mahabaho, mighty armed. Why? Because you are struggling with the material universe. Yaya idam dharyate jagat. So he is giving the reference that you are mighty armed warrior and still you are struggling with this inferior nature of mind. So there is a superior energy which is all you living entities, and you are struggling with my inferior energy. So from this you need to understand that everybody, because of the elemental energies, these 8 separated energies, including the mind, intelligence, and false ego, he is struggling with material nature. He is inferior to the material nature in one sense because he is captured by it. The superior nature, separated superior nature, the living entity, is captured by Krishna's inferior energy. So you can imagine how powerful Krishna is, how powerful his inferior nature is, that he's saying, this is my lesser nature, it is separate from me. And even that has so much strength that it can put you into illusion and it can keep you bound up, and you are under the jurisdiction of that nature, and you are struggling, and you are being dharyate, you are either exploiting others and you are being exploited. And with this whole combination, the whole universe is being sustained. Dharya, dharana, from the root dharana. Dharya. Sustained, exploited. Apara iyam ita tu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yaya idam dharyate jagat. They are sustaining the universe. In other words, the continuity of the universe is going on because of these elements, and because my separated superior element, which is you, is struggling with the material element, which is my separated inferior energy. You are my superior energy, and these things are my inferior energy. And you are struggling with this, and the universe is continuing. This is, in fact, the maintenance, and the whole reason for the universe is to give you this opportunity to come to the point of understanding who Krishna really is, because you have forgotten. So the elements of earth, water, fire, air, space, mind, intelligence, and false ego, these are all gross and subtle products of the inferior energy of Krishna. So those who are exploiting these energies, they are continuing to make the universe is in demand because of the exploitation, and then the back and forth that goes on. Okay. So even though you are a very mighty armed warrior, Mahabaho, Arjun, you're still struggling with all this. So it gives us an idea of how powerful material nature actually is. But more superior to material nature is his spiritual nature, his higher nature, which is the living entity. So once a person is free of this contamination, he becomes more and more Krishna conscious, God conscious, realizing who Krishna really is. And he is then able to be liberated from the material zones of existence. We have text number 6. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti updharya aham kritsnasya jagata prabhava pralaya tatha. Etad yonini bhutani. These two natures, superior and inferior, yonini, sources of birth. Yoni means womb, birth, bhutani, everything that I have created. Sarvani iti upadharya, all these things you should know that aham, I, kritsnasya jagata prabhava pralaya tatha. I am both the origin and the destruction. You should know that I am the original source of generation as well as influence. I control, coming to the point of being the controller, supreme. Pralaya tata, I control the generation and the dissolution. I am the origin of the generation and the dissolution of all that is material and all that is spiritual in the entire world. So, this is a very powerful understanding of what is Krishna's position, what is the position of the individual living entity, and therefore what is your relationship between others, because you are in a state of exploiting each other and you are giving continuity to this world. Then we have text 7. Mata parattaram na anyat kinchit asti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre mani gana iva. Mata parattaram, beyond my superior self, my superior nature. Na anyata, there is nothing else. But at the same time, understand, Dhananjaya, conqueror of wealth. Conqueror of wealth is, Dhananjaya is another name for Arjun. Mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana iva. Everything is strung on me just like pearls. I am the thread upon which everything rests. There is no truth, nothing beyond me. I am the highest truth of all. Mata paratram na anyat. There is nothing superior to me. So it doesn't mean my personal nature, it's talking about the individual, living entity, supreme Krishna self as he is. I think we can pause here because then the next continuity is a slightly different, in-depth, detailed study of what he means by all this. So we will pause at text 7 in chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita about transcendental knowledge. Knowledge of the Absolute is this chapter. So if there are any questions, we will take questions now. On chapter 7, anything, anybody has a question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So then each soul is dependent on each other here, because since we are in the material nature as we are giving and receiving.
You're karmically dependent, you're exploiting each other, so you're setting up karmic debts and credits, debits and credits. You're setting up karmic debits and credits
Even
when you're
the
doing
plants,
this.
the trees,
Everything.
everything,
Yeah.
because if we are giving in,
Elementally and also to other living entities. It is a matter of exploiting. Krishna uses that word. It is in the text number 5, I think. Yes, text 5. Apara yam itah tu anyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yaya idam dharyate jagat. Being used, being exploited, you are exploiting the universe is exploiting you. It's a mutual exploitation society. Everything lives on another living entity. Jiva jivasya jivanam. One living entity lives on another living entity, lives on another living entity is also a similar idea. That everybody is living off each other.
we're all parasitic.
Parasitic in a way. Yes.
Anujan has a question.
Yes.
She didn't get all the 8 elements: earth, water, fire, ether, mind, false ego, and
Earth, water, fire, air, ether or space, mind, intelligence and false ego. These are 8. This is referred to in text number 4 of chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita. So, this knowledge is to be understood through the Gyan and Vigyan is superior because that is realized knowledge. So you have to work towards connecting with Krishna. So a simple way of understanding Vigyan is that you look at being more attached to the internal realization about Krishna than being attached to the external world of analysis and senses and what you perceive by your senses. So this realization is superior because it has nothing to do with senses. The Vigyan aspect means that I am not looking at the senses. It is a realization. There is no methodology except direct realization. There is no method for direct perception. It's different. So where methodology stops and you connect internally to the divine, that is superior. So that you already have that capability when you come to Reiki, when you come to the KQ force, that heart connection is already established. When, for example, you come to the second level of the KQ force, the heart connection has been established in KQ1 through the attunement and the symbol that you get. Now that we are giving the same symbol that we used to give for KQ2, we are giving you at 1. At 2, we will give you the symbol which works directly with the heart energy. So it's already established. In Reiki, it's established from Reiki 1. Reiki 2, again, you get the symbol which is the networking symbol between the heart-to-heart connection, the Paramatma connection. So in both cases, you have the Paramatma connection. So that is important to come to the Paramatma realization at the very minimum. But that is insufficient. You need to come to this understanding of Krishna. Or what is the source of Paramatma? Who is the source of Paramatma is what you need to understand. So the inferior energies are one and the superior energies are different. The living entities are the separated particles of Krishna, having exactly the same qualities, but very tiny quantity. Vibhinansha, separated parts of him. Swayamsha is his own part, the expansions of Krishna. Lord Balram, Radharani, Lord Ram, Parshuram, Vishnu, Upendra, all the expansions, Hayagriv, Varaha, so many expansions, Matsya, Nrsingadev. These are all unseparated expansions of himself. All else are separated. Swayansha and Vibhinansha, separated expansions, and Swayansha, his own expansions. Krishna is also saying finally that, I am the origin, source, and the influencing as well as the destroying energy of everything. The pralaya energies also are mine. Yes.
Shipra Stogi has a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Shipra, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Good morning, sir.
Hanji, good morning, Shipra.
Good morning. Sir, when sometimes I'm not really sending healing in a mode of goodness. Like sometimes I'm really angry or irritated and I'm sending healing to something. Eventually I feel better. But does the mode in which I send healing also change the degree or nature of service?
Are you saying you send healing better when you are upset? Is that what you just said?
I actually said that I'm not sending healing in the mode of goodness, but yes, when I'm not feeling like that, then I send more healing. That also happens, and I do feel better.
When you are in the mode of goodness, the healing is already flowing.
Okay.
So when you are detached from the mode of goodness and you're feeling upset, that is a motivation for you to send healing, so there's no loss. It's all right. If you're not stimulated to send healing, you won't send it. And if you're stimulated to send healing, maybe then you'll send it. So it's all right. Whichever way, as long as you send healing, it doesn't matter. There is no superior or inferior healing, if that is also part of your question, I think. So it's not that you send better healing, you don't send better healing when you're upset. It's that you channel a lot of it, and in that channeling, you get healed of the upset. So it's a high dose of medicine, let's say, that you receive. Okay? So you don't...
Every time when I'm sending healing, every time not connecting with the feeling that I'm serving.
Yes, because you're in the exploitation mode. You're exploiting everything, including the energy. So another way to understand this is that as healers, you're exploiting the energy, but the energy is willing to be exploited for this purpose, because you don't have the Vigyan yet. Okay? So the energy is very loving and giving and saying, okay, use this. You are a user of everything. You use this also. You don't know the difference. It's okay, at some point you'll come to that understanding. So it is very important, your rule book has to be the Bhagavad Gita actually for all healers. It is a non-sectarian understanding. It is an understanding of the absolute knowledge of the divine and the material universe. So there is no sectarianism in this. It is available for everybody because whatever is explained in the Bhagavad Gita is applicable, and you can analyze it with your senses and by your senses of perception, by your senses of intelligence and discrimination. And you will come to these conclusions whether you are born in this culture of the Vedic knowledge or you are not born in it. Because knowledge is knowledge. And it is free of such designations. So the more free knowledge is of designations, the more universal it is. This is universal knowledge. So every healer needs to study this beyond the methodology of what you are doing. You are actually connecting with the Paramatma self, within yourself and with all living entities, and freeing yourself from binding consequence karma, which is mukti. But you have to go beyond it, because that is not the end all and be all, because that is only partial realization. So if you chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, that will help you to focus on what's important. The more knowledge you have about this, the easier it becomes to understand. Because the self-realization doesn't come suddenly. If you look at the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, it started off with Karam Yoga, then went to Gyan Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, Ashtang Yoga, all that. So those are processes that lead you to the final point of Bhakti Yoga. So then there is attachment to the divine, and that gives Vigyan, that gives realization. But if you do not know who the divine is, you can't say I'm worshipping the sunlight. That is his impersonal energy, equivalent. There is the sunlight, there is the sun, and then there is the controller of the sun. So there are 3 things. So the same way there is Krishna, there is his impersonal energy, separated energy, and there is his planet also. But he is beyond his planet, he is the source of everything. So we have to connect with him. If you connect with him, you are safe, because then you are going to the highest place. Other places you will get deviated perhaps. So that's not a good idea. So we need to come to this understanding of who Krishna is, whether you are, as I said, aware of him in this culture or you are not. Because what Krishna means, the word Krishna in Sanskrit means the all-attractive one. God doesn't really have a name. This is his quality. He is the all-attractive one. So it also means, yeah, most welcome. Any other question? Yes.
So when you see, like I see the trees, they're serving selflessly. They do not ask anything for themselves.
Okay.
But we ask.
Yes. So they are there to.
Aren't they better?
They are no. They are not better because their level of consciousness is very low. Being a tree is a very low level of consciousness in terms of awareness. Better than trees are there is the immovable, which are trees and things like that. Then there is the movable living entity, which is more conscious. Insects, animals, birds, and then, but they do not have the sense of Gyan Vigyan in this aspect that we are talking about. That is only available in human beings. So human beings are even more evolved. And this is a rare birth. Human birth is rare, and it is to be used for this purpose of understanding and serving Krishna. See, the default setting is you're serving his inferior nature in any case by being exploited and exploited. You're serving his inferior nature. You're getting kicked around and you're kicking people, basically, isn't it?
Yes.
Then, so better than that, you get connected to his superior nature through the process of being initiated or connected or attuned by the spiritual master, by the guru. and through that you get connected to the superior energy of Krishna. You are born with this energy, it is separated, it is only a one-way connection coming downward, no two-way connection. When you get the attunement, then you have the proper two-way connection with the divine, then you are not separated. Then you have to work with it. If you do not have the knowledge of who the divine is, then there's a limited distance that you can travel. So this is all the way to Golok Vrindavan. So if you aim for the highest, you may reach somewhere close to it. Yeah, that's the point.
Bhavani Tyagi has a question.
Yes.
Bhavani, you may unmute yourself and ask the question.
She can type the question.
Bhavani can type the question.
Can't hear anything from her. We can hear her fumbling with something.
She's not getting the audio.
Okay. You can write in your question later. Yes,
So our
Anju.
body is made up of 5 elements.
Five
and
elements.
three.
Plus mind, intelligence and
So,
ahankar.
and as a healer, when we get connected, that's how the process starts dealing with life. That's the reason we talked about last chapter, the transparent ego,
Yes.
and then making friends with mind.
And with the intelligence, yes. Correct. Mind and intelligence to be friends with that. Yeah.
And 5 elements will always remain.
Yeah, but the thing is that even the elements get healed, their nature changes. So when you leave, we have said many times, and it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, not that I am saying it, that when you leave this body, you go with mind, intelligence, and false ego. 3 things. The other 5 are left behind. We had also made the radical proposal that even when you go to the spiritual world, you still maintain a false ego, but that false ego is of a spiritual kind.
We are so grateful, sir, that we are blessed by this opportunity we have.
Well, we are very happy that you can come. So people who are coming to this class, they are definitely advancing. So it is not just, okay, I'm going to hear Bhagavad Gita, which you heard many times, and you fall asleep and you don't know what they're talking about because it makes no sense. So it is said that you must hear from the right source. You must hear. So in the parampara, what we are saying is from what the previous masters have spoken, what the previous acharyas have said. And we are now expanding this knowledge, I think, for the first time in terms of how it impacts you. We are doing the Gyan as well as the Vigyan aspect, understanding of how the healers are actually connected to this. So it is so perfect because what you have received, you don't even know what you've got actually. That's the thing.
Grateful, sir.
Yes, so grateful.
Okay.
That is what I want to understand. We all want to understand the inner aspect of what we've got, that connection. That when we're doing the healing, sometimes you just go into a zone where there is just total silence.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing, there's no one around.
Yeah. So that is the Paramatma realization. And that is the higher consciousness
I can be
realization.
awake, I can
Yes,
see,
yes.
but I'm not there.
Yes, you're not there. So we have said many times over the years, you live there and you come here to work. That's what it
But
means.
that's I don't like coming back.
Well, you have to work. You can't be without work.
And that ego is still.
So then you develop more attachment to Krishna and you'll go there one day. What is there? You have to finish this. In the meanwhile, you enjoy what you have. Work for, in Krishna consciousness to serve the divine, and in the process have a great life. So even while in this body, you can attain the bliss of being in the divine world, because that is internally for you. Then when you are finished with this body, you will physically go to that world. So this is a preparation. So if you're already in that consciousness, what's the problem? So instead of lamenting, one should be very happy. Yeah, I have this connection, I have this ability, I have this blessing. I'm going through my life, the rest of it, the way with this internal joy flowing through me. And I know that at the end of the day, man, buddhi, ahankar, everything will go to the divine.
That ahankar is the part that I find it difficult.
Yeah, so the ahankar will disappear. No? So what is there? The ahankar is because you are identifying with this body necessarily. But at some level, internalizing it, you will not identify with this body. You will come closer to your own superior self, your Atma. So that is the beginning. You start loving your Atma and you start loving the Paramatma and the source behind it. That is the process.
Then automatically everything is perfect around.
No, everything is not perfect, but you are perfect. You are in perfect consciousness. Things will go up and down around the world. I mean, what does it mean everything is perfect? It's not that the world has suddenly transformed. You have transformed. Your relationship to the world has transformed. So when the transformation takes place, you are internally in a good state. How does it matter? Then the only work you have to do is to fix the exploitation that is going on as best as you can and not get hyper about it. Yes.
With all these teachings, last 6-7 months, I think I've developed a lot of self-love. Otherwise, I was just mostly guilty or
Yeah.
responsible for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
With your grace, sir, and all these teachings, and sir, I think the self-love is one of the levels where you can actually connect to this love.
You can, because unless you love yourself, how you can love the divine? You can't love anybody else, what to speak of the divine? So you need to develop a true appreciation of your higher self, the soul self, and the Paramatma, and then Krishna, who is the source of everything.
Sabrina is very grateful, Master.
Okay, very welcome. So I think we'll conclude here today, unless there's a last question, quick question. Neha? Okay, fine, wonderful. So I will be putting this up on the blog, maybe by tomorrow, if I have the time. But it will be there, so you can refer to it, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. So this is we have completed text 6. 7. No, 6. 6. Text 7. Yes, you are right. Yes. Beyond me there is no truth superior to me. Know this, Dhananjaya, conqueror of wealth, Arjun. Everything is resting on me and strung on me like pearls, like Manigana, Protam Sutre Manigana. On a thread, everything is resting on me. I am not resting on anything. That is the point. So the inferior nature is not translating to Krishna's nature. His nature is superior. Because it is originating from him and separated from him, it has a different quality. So it does not reflect his quality. But there are certain factors that are reminding us that there is a superior source of these energies. So the superior separated entity of which is the Atma, the separated soul self, has the quality of Krishna, and the inferior material nature also has the origins from Krishna. The 5 elements and the man, buddhi, ahankar, these are the inferior natures. So this inferior nature will transform also. You will have a body in the spiritual world with spiritual elements, and the man, buddhi, ahankar will be of a completely different nature, not of this kind. So the false ego in terms of I am a controller will not be there unless Krishna wants you to have it, and that you come into a relationship with him that, I am responsible for Krishna. As his parent, as his uncle, as his aunt, as his well-wisher. So you have those kind of relationships also in the spiritual world with Krishna. You can be his buddy, you can be his childhood friend, you can be the one who opposes him if you like. That's also available. So like Lalita and Vishaka, one of them is pushing Radharani towards Krishna, and the other one thinks she's very beautiful, more beautiful than Radharani, and she's a competitor with Radharani. So that's allowed. That's also Krishna's superior nature. These are pastimes that we cannot get into right now, but these are incomprehensible. Those are available in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, but to understand the 10th, you must first study 9. That's a lifetime study. Okay. So we will conclude at text 7 of chapter 7 today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hello.
She's better. Yeah, she's better. But the other symptoms are coming.
Yes, yes, I will be on Thursday.
On Thursday.
Better on Thursday. I could do today, but I don't know. There's no staff. Could be better on Thursday.
You're on
Need some-
20
Hanji?
20 people on there.
21 people. Nice. Okay. Good. Good. Improving.
18th is Rakhi.
We are having Bhagavad Gita class on 18th.
No, sir, the
Huh?
healing Thursday.
Oh, healing Thursday. Yeah, we are having in the evening. Those who can come, come. Those who can't come, connect with us through the airwaves.
So the manuals, they can change after that, the next Thursday after that?
Well, the KQ ones have to be given the symbol and then they can
Yes,
take the
sir.
manuals.
If on any one Thursday they all come, if you have, then it's easy for me to
Yeah.
give
So
them.
then I shall announce it. Which Thursday? Not this one
No,
because
the
the
one
people will
after.
be busy. The next one.
Yes, please.
So I have now also made the bookings for the Shamli has made the bookings for the tree house on our behalf. So we've booked 15 rooms so far. And so we will be, what did we charge for the last retreat? Do you remember? 70. Okay. So 60, I think it wasn't 70.
59.
Yeah, 59. That's the figure I'm thinking of. So it will be the same. It will be same pre-opening plus 3 nights and 4 days. So it will be the same charge, 59,000. And we will work out. You'll have to pay it in 2 different accounts. I have to talk to the accountant which accounts they have to be paid in. So it'll tell you where to send the money. If anybody is bringing children, then we have to provide for that also.
Shamli.
Yeah, yes. And Priya is not coming because she's got
So
some
we are sending her healing.
sending healing.
So it's only 1 hour she booked, but It's like it's before the
Holidays.
They don't have the January vacation, just like Delhi. They have like 25th to last of the January. So she doesn't get paid if she
Doesn't get paid from where to where.
She told me 3 weeks. If
She doesn't get
takes-
paid for 3 weeks even if she takes.
a vacation away before the
So
vacation.
yeah, we are not allowed to take duty before the vacation is for the teachers.
If you worked, you can sue them. I worked, you will pay
In
me.
our school, you can't take any, the first and the last.
Well, I'm dying. What are you going to do? Why? I'm going to hospital. I'm going to spiritual hospital. I have doctor's certificate.
Even sir, Saturday and Sunday, if you take the Friday and the Monday off,
Labor ministry में complain कर दो ना
then
कि
it's like 4 days. They will
That's a central government.
something government rule.
It gets clubbed into the early.
Yeah.
either they should apply all central government rules or they can't choose which ones to apply.
Nahi sir, the schools which are giving the pay commission, they are following.
Then it's okay. Then you,
It is their duty.
So what happens on Janmashtami? Like Janmashtami we celebrate in this world. What happens?
celebrate his manifestation because at that time Durga Devi also appears. Because when the 8th child was swapped and then they tried to kill Durga Devi and then she manifested at that time. So that's the time when Krishna came out of the prison. He was taken by Vasudev to Nandagram. So that is the actual appearance and the illusion aspect of Devi manifesting fully.
That's when they took that little baby girl
Yeah.
and this Yog Maya.
That
She
was
came
Yog
with
Maya.
So same way the 15th of August is the manifestation of the energies.
No, 15th of August is the birthday of Dr. Mikau, you see.
So it's actual
Physical birth.
And 4th February.
4th is the energy birth. Because the energy form always appears in advance. Then the matter comes to fill it up. The template is already there. So when the template is formed, then the matter is filled in. Or what else is the news for your vacations?
No vacation, no vacation.
तुम इतना पैनिक क्यों करते हो? अरुणिमा आ रही है, वो जनवरी में आ रही है, तुम अभी से रौला पाना शुरू करता है?
She is coming 24th.
That night she in the late
Huh?
night she messaged me.
Late
I got
reaction.
confused.